Oh, hello there. I was just finishing this tweet about a live stream I'm about to start. In fact, this live stream itself. Let me just make sure I've got it right. Let's see. It'll be a start to finish recording showing not only my brilliant technical ability, but also my deeply thoughtful design process. Sounds about right. Or not. We'll see. I'm going to do my best, though. So anyways, I'm just going to tweet that out. Oh, you know what? A link would be great. Let's throw that in there. All right. My name is Alex Long. I'm going to be tweeting, live streaming my development of a React app here. I'm going to be building Vim in ReactJS using Vim. My intentions for this are to do it in a very transparent manner. So I'm going to show you from the very beginning, including me actually writing the tweet advertising this live stream, and hopefully walking through some of the sort of project management things that I'll be doing, even though this is a relatively small scale project. Still kind of show you my thought process. And I expect this to be about 3 or 4 hours. Just to be like totally transparent, I have not planned this out at all. So this is going to have to do some rescoping along the way, probably. But I just thought I would kind of give a little taste of what it's like when I'm just sitting down to kind of start up a new project, and I just kind of want to dive right in and kind of see what comes of it. It's not always the way that I would approach a new project, but sometimes it's fun to just kind of dive right in and spend a few hours that can actually give you a better sense of what kind of planning you need to do. So yeah. I'm going to be using a thing called Work Cycles, which comes from ultraworking.com. Definitely recommend them if you want to kind of get some productivity bumps. But anyways, this is just a little worksheet you fill out, and you kind of fill it out along the way as you're working. And it helps to keep you kind of focused and helps you make sure your scope isn't too easy, so you're not getting things done, but it's also not too hard so that you're going to run into scope creep and you're never going to get the thing that you're trying to get done. So let's see, let's start this at 12:30. This kind of follows the Pomodoro technique, if you're familiar with that. So it's this idea that we're going to work in cycles. So we're going to work for 30 minutes, and then we're going to take a 10-minute break. We're just going to repeat that. And I think, let's see, 5 cycles, that's 3.5 hours. That should end around 4 p.m. I think that should be good. All right. By the way, I can see that people are viewing, but I have no idea who you are. So feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. All right. So what am I trying to accomplish? So here, this is kind of our big open-ended idea. All right. So I am building Vim in using React, or what did I say? In ReactJS using Vim. By the way, in case people aren't familiar, Vim is super old school, but still very cool editor, text editor. So, you know, not to like denigrate it or anything, it's kind of like Notepad, but it's customizable to, you know, beyond your imagination. So it's got all sorts of cool things, which I'll be showing as I'm coding it because I'm going to be using it itself for this project. Also, oops, it's so easy to use too. I'm going to kick off this little script because this will take a second. This is just going to kind of build a little template React app to kind of put in all the boilerplate code, so I don't need to come back and write all this. Oh, my battery is low on my headset. That's bad timing. Anyways, question from the chat. This is great. This is my first time live streaming, by the way. Somebody says, hey, what was that work cycle thing called again? That seems very useful for studying. Yeah, I would definitely recommend it for studying. So it's work cycles, but it comes from this site called Ultra Working. So if you just search Ultra Working, they've got a whole bunch of information on it and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, all it is a Google sheet. So you just download their template and copy it into your Google Drive and then start filling it out. But it has all sorts of nifty little things that they've programmed into it. So like when I filled out this field, it put a check mark there, and it does all the math for your cycles and stuff. I'm going to plug in my headset 1 second. All right. Battery is still low. Okay, battery. Yeah. Okay, my headset is just spamming the words battery low, so that's not good. Yeah, what am I gonna do about that? I don't know. We'll figure that out when the battery is dead. Okay. So let's see. I'm already missing we're gonna bump this to 1240. Okay, why is this important and valuable? So this is just a kind of little motivational statement you want to write for yourself. Don't have to get too crazy with it, but just kind of helps you kind of remember why you're doing it. So why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? That's a good question. See, it's already making me reflect on myself. Why am I doing this? No. Let's see. Well, specifically, I think I'm doing BIM inside of ReactJS just for fun. It's partially just for fun, but I'm live streaming it because I like the idea of teaching people how to code. Let's just leave it at that. And live streaming is a good way to do that. How will I know if this is complete? So like, how can you define your sort of victory conditions? So let's say I have a working version of Vim running with, I don't know, very sparse, very few, with a very, I'm going to rewrite this in a positive way, with a very minimalistic and clean interface. In other words, there will be no features. Yeah. Okay, any risks or hazards, potential distractions, procrastination? This is a great question. Well, live streaming is in and of itself, because my headset might die, might run into other technical difficulties, might have more awesome questions in the chat. Also, one very common hazard is I might have bitten off more than I can chew. And this is just going to be way too hard to do in 3.33 hours, but we'll see. Let's see. Is this concrete, measurable, subjective, ambiguous? It's kind of concrete. I know what I'm trying to do, but I haven't really defined how many features of Vim I really want to implement. So it's a little vague in that sense. Anything else noteworthy? I don't know. I'm gonna just roll with it and probably adjust my end goal along the way depending on how well I do. Yeah, so I'm going to start off, this is the goal to build Vim and ReactJS, but who knows, might get 2 hours into it and still be struggling to get my headset working. So we'll see. All right. So you fill out this little questionnaire, just kind of gets you ready, and then we're going to jump over to the work tab. And so this whole thing is just kind of like automated. So I said I wanted to start at 12:40. I said I wanted 30 minutes to work and 10 minutes of break. So each cycle is spaced out by 40 minutes. And then you kind of fill out this like mini little questionnaire each time. It's just kind of cool. It kind of keeps you focused a little bit. So what am I trying to accomplish this cycle? That's a good question. So this is going to be our first of 5. Yeah. Let's say, how about just getting a multi-line text editor working? Just a basic little text editor. How will I get started? Well, first I just need to get my React app going. So I'm going to do that first. Any hazards present? Battery low, battery low, battery low. That's exactly what my headset is doing. It's great. Energy, I'm feeling pretty good. Morale, I'm a little worried about my headset, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, so that's how you start. I'm a little bit ahead of schedule. It's 12:35, but that's how I would start, and then I would jump in, and then at the end of it, I would fill out this little review. And let me actually set the timer for, I guess, 45 minutes, or no, 35 minutes. Cool. So that'll take us to 110. Okay, cool. Yeah. Let me see if I can take care of this headset issue right before I get started. Find a cord that actually works. And try to make this a teaching moment. I'm going to try to make everything a teaching moment. Yeah, basically, I'm trying to ensure the most smooth little 5-cycle work project here as possible. So I want to take care of this headset thing before I kind of get into the groove of programming, because I don't want it to die when I'm in the middle of stuff. Battery low, battery low. But she's so polite. Oh, this is my cat, by the way. Say hi, Harry. I should have put him on as a distraction. You're a little distraction, aren't you? You're a little hazard, a little risk. Okay. So I think this is charging now. Cool. My headset is now charging as I speak. All right. Let's dive in. I'm going to dive in 3 minutes early. Let's see how this. Okay, cool. So in the 3 precious minutes I have to spare, I'm also going to say that this isn't like a perfect from the beginning tutorial, so to speak. So this is not meant to teach you how to use React or teach you how to program necessarily. It's more to just kind of show somebody who's been programming professionally for several years kind of what it's like. Like this is a day in the life. So I'm going to try to explain things and I'm going to try and teach, but there's going to be a lot of stuff that's probably going to be over your head unless you're like an exact clone of me basically and you've done everything that I've been doing. So just keep that in mind. Don't expect to like learn, everything that I'm doing here. Just kind of maybe absorb through osmosis. This is what it's like to be a programmer. All right, so I just use this thing called Create React App, which just makes a little template app in React. So now if I kick this bad boy off, should get the basic React app appearing. Cool. All right. So this is now the web page running on my computer. And you just fool around a little bit. So edit source app.js. So I can be like, hey there, Twitch. And save that file and boom, hey there, Twitch. Add a comma, just to be proper. All right, cool. So we know where to start. So this is the file where it all happens. And I'm just gonna check back in. What did I say I was gonna do? Okay, got a multi-line text editor working. So I guess I can teach a little bit. I can try to teach. So React, if you're not familiar, it's kind of this funky HTML and JavaScript are just kind of like getting cozy together, getting to know each other real intimate like. So you can kind of mix them in together. So here we have like a function, but it's returning straight up div element. Kind of mind blowing the first time I saw it. And it can get super funky because you can have JavaScript within the HTML. So we could have like a function here that's like, I don't know. Let's see. What's a good, be like, hey there, but then we could call slice on it to like take off some of the characters or whatever. I didn't do that right. There we go. And then it's actually executing that JavaScript within the HTML, within the JavaScript. And that can just go on forever. Like I could put HTML inside of this JavaScript. So don't worry about that because it can kind of make your head hurt if you think too hard about it. But it actually turns out to be pretty cool. All right, so I want to get a multi-line text editor working. So yeah, okay. I have no idea how to do this, which is actually how I start most of my projects. But there's this thing called a content editable div. I don't think I wrote that right. Let's see, HTML content editable. How do you do that? This was kind of my initial thought as to how to start. Oh, okay. I mean, this is almost too easy if this works, but this literally just makes like a little div that you can just start typing away in. Let's see, will that work? Wait. Test. Oh yeah. That is too easy. So this is like a situation where this will give me very short-term gains because boom, multi-line editor, mission accomplished. But I think what I might find as we move ahead is that we are going to find a lot of intricacies with the content editable div, and it might actually end up being a bit of a, I don't know, something that may actually end up holding us back in the future. That being said, I've got 27 minutes left. I've already accomplished what I said I was going to do. I already got a multi-line text editor working, so I already got this cycle finished. So I could technically just stop there. But so let's see. I wonder if there's, how else could I do this? I mean, well, another way, I think, can I do multiple lines already within this? Oh, look at that. I don't even need multiple content. Okay, well, that's even better. I'm going to remove some of this stuff. I like the spinning atom, though. We'll leave that. Let's change the design here a little bit. I don't want this to be centered. Cool. I mean, that looks like a multi-line text editor to me. I don't know if I'm going to get anything better than that in 20 minutes. Let's see. So even though I'm using React here, this is not technically a React component per se. It's just a function that's returning JSX, which is the fancy word for HTML and JavaScript mixed together, which is what this is. And I think I might actually want to turn this into a React component so I can start making it a little bit more advanced. I haven't the slightest clue, despite having done this 100 times, what the exact syntax is. I think it's like class extends React component or something like that. And then you make a constructor. Then you need a render. Does that do anything? Oh, I think we do that. Ho-ho, got it. All right. Also, why is there, I don't like how this is so low. Why is it so low? What's going on here? In case you haven't done much web development, Chrome has a cool way of debugging a website. Let's see. I want this to be over here. So I can actually kind of break down the website right in front of me. Oh, that's sweet. The whole thing is moving. And now it's not for some reason. So we can figure out, so I guess it's just an awkwardly shaped rectangle. That's why it has so much space above it. Unless I make this smaller. So that's the fun thing, is you can just kind of tweak this stuff. But no, still, maybe it's centered. I bet it's centered. Let's see, somewhere up here. Somewhere up here. Or not. Something. Oh, it's there. Wait, oops. Wait, justify content. There we go. All right. Justify content. I don't want you. Let's put padding top 20 pixel padding. Oh, wait. Let's do margin. So wait, why is that? Yeah, by the way, if you're a programmer, you spend much of your time going, why is that like that? Why is the background color on the header? Let's just make the whole thing that color. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, a little more aesthetically pleasing. I don't know why I said pleasing. Actually, let's make a little Vim header. I don't know. Well, it's kind of boring, but whatever. We have bigger things to do, bigger fish to fry. Okay. All right. So the whole reason I wanted to convert this into an React component is because I want to actually mess around with what's called state. So what I want, because this is a text editor, but like I want to be able to get the text out of it. Maybe that's a bad way of starting. There's so much self-questioning in the beginning of a software project. Yeah, I feel like I don't need to do this because I think the actual problem we're going to run into is that starting to add any features to this content editable paragraph, apparently it's not a div, is just going to be kind of a nightmare. So let's dive into that. No, I'm joking, but I'm also like, when I know that there's something in my like path and it's in the critical path to completion and it's probably something that's like high risk, like I don't know if I can actually add any features to this HTML component, I kind of like to attack that thing first because I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time dressing this thing up and making it look good and all this kind of stuff and then find out that like this approach is just completely wrong and we're going to have to rethink everything. So, okay. So going back for a second. So this is Vim, by the way, if anyone isn't familiar, that's what I'm using right now to edit. And so let's start with like a basic feature. So, oh man, yeah, I really didn't think this through. Okay, so one of the things about Vim that'll jump out to you when you first start using it, more than anything, is that unlike the good old regular thing, text editor, word editor, whatever you want to call it, where you just type stuff and it appears. That seems pretty straightforward. In Vim, when you type stuff, it doesn't actually appear. So, you know, I'm going to type my name here. I'll just like make a new line right here, right? And you can see my cursor. And I'm just going to type my name and we'll watch what happens. You might say, oh, well, it almost worked. And yeah, where did the A go? Well, in Vim, you have to go into a special mode to be able to type anything. And you have to press a certain letter to go into that mode. So A is one of the letters you can press to go into typing mode. So you can't just type whatever you want and it just appears. You have to go into typing mode, which it can be really unintuitive and difficult to use. But just to explain that a little bit further, the way that I'm moving the cursor up and down, as you can see right now, is I'm actually pushing J and K on the keyboard. And obviously the letters J and K are not appearing on the keyboard because I'm not in typing mode. And I could delete this whole line that it says Lex on by typing DD. That deletes the whole line. The letters DD did not appear, obviously. And I could bring that back by undoing it by pressing U. So it's kind of cool because there's all these fun little hotkeys that you can do. But if you actually want to type, you need to type a letter that gets you into type mode, where you can actually type DD and JK, 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 and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be real fun to try and implement here. Yeah, this is what I was saying about possibly needing to change my scope as I went along. How much longer do we have in this cycle? Okay, 18 minutes. Meanwhile, my viewer count is plummeting. Probably because this has no relevant target audience. This is a live stream for people who are already familiar with everything I'm doing and just want to watch me stumble through it. And probably won't really teach you anything. Anyways, I'm having fun. So let's see. Yeah, man, okay. How can I, so the whole thing I want to try and do in these remaining 17 minutes and 14, 13, 12 seconds that I have left in this cycle is try to implement this idea of a typing mode here. So I don't want it to type J if I press J. I want it to move up and down a row. That's just really hard. Man, I didn't think this through. Okay, well, so the thing is, I've already hit my objective for this cycle. So I'm kind of like, I'm setting a new objective, but I want to make sure that it's a reasonable objective for me to hit in 15 minutes. So I don't want to go overboard. And I think trying to add this whole typing mode might be a bit much for 15 minutes. So what can I do in 15 minutes that'll kind of move me towards that? I guess, let's just see if it's even possible to move the cursor up a row in this content editable thing. So let's see, content editable, JavaScript, move cursor. Oh, cool. Somebody else has already searched how to do this. Let's see what they found. 2011. Good to know I'm using modern technology. Okay, so oh, this is actually not terrible, maybe. So okay, let's just copy all this. Let's have a thing, set cursor position. And we'll just put all that in for now. I don't really, this is not obviously what I'm going to be doing right away, but I just want to start this. Okay, so we need an ID. Let's just call it editor. And editable, editor, I like editor. Okay. I guess we can leave all of that. Start. I don't really know what any of this is doing, but supposedly this works. Let's add, oh, you know what? My indentation's not working because this is a JavaScript file. Hold up. Let's see. Rename X JavaScript. There we go. And then I need to rename it here. .jsx. Boom. 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 We're back. I've had a little bit of coffee today, so I apologize if I'm kind of hyper. All right. Button on click this dot set cursor. Why didn't it autocomplete? Set cursor position. There we go. Jump to line 2. That's just what this button is going to do. It's just going to jump to line 2. We'll try and make this the objective for this cycle. So we already got the multi-line thing going, but this is kind of an important component of that. All right, let's see. So if I click that button and everything works the way it should be, the cursor that's at the end of this SDF line should jump up to somewhere in here. Let's see if that works. Yeah, not so much. There is no child. There is no child. Like a scene from the Matrix. For example, to set the caret to the 5th character of the 2nd line of text. I thought there was a. Okay, let's try this again. Maybe. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Let's make sure every line has at least 5 characters. And now, Yeah, that's fun. Okay. See, here it's a div. That's what I was thinking, is it should be a div. I wonder if that's an issue. Let's try this little example, see if it actually even works or not. Yeah, that's exactly what I want our button to do. Okay. Let's try making it a div. Okay. Oh, let's make sure we got plenty of characters. No. That is interesting. Interesting. Interesting is a good word to use, because if I used the word annoying, I would probably actually start feeling annoyed. Let's see. What is the difference between what I'm doing and what they're doing? That's the question. Because I feel like there's not one. Unless, man. All right, 11 minutes. See, this is a nice thing about using these cycles, is you keep thinking about it and you're like, let us pray that I have. Okay, this is my whole objective for the remaining 11 minutes, is just to get this code, their exact code, working, because that will give me some hope that what I'm doing here is actually feasible in 4 hours. That didn't work. Auto indent. Okay. No. Why you no work? Oh, it just doesn't like these. Yes. Yes. Focus. Probably wrong ID. Editor. Negatory. Negatory, senor. I don't know. 9 minutes. Okay. What are we doing different? Let's see. That's all the same. Set caret. ID. This is literally the same code. Man, I am about to become a sad panda. Because, yeah. Huh. Wait, this button, oh, dang it. I copied the code and I overwrote my own button. I overwrote my own button. I hate when that happens. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, all right. All right, so, okay, the only question now is, why didn't that work when I was typing my own text? Is it something about those? It is. Oh man, it's the BR things, I bet. Somehow those are breaking it up into multiple child nodes or something. Well, that's just fine and dandy. Fine and dandy like sour candy. I don't know what that means. Oh man. Okay, well, I mean, sort of hit the objective here, because I said I was just trying to get this exact code working, which we did. So that's cool. We've already gotten a lot farther than I anticipated in the first cycle. We still have 8 minutes left. At the same time, this does leave me feeling a bit worried that we're going to start struggling because obviously these things don't really work. But 8 minutes isn't much time to do anything, so let's do this. Let's just take this last 8 minutes to just kind of explore a little bit, and that'll help inform what we're going to do next cycle. So I'm going to just start logging stuff as an act of total desperation. Oh, that's interesting. I don't think this actually matters, but React likes camel case. Huh. Yeah. What happens if I do that? That's so interesting. Well, anywho, let's see what happens when I click this. Oh, it's going to crash, right? But will it log? It will not, because I put this too high. There we go. Let's try it again. Show me the money. All right, so what I want is I want to know what this looks like, what these children's look like. So it's a node list, and it's got the whole thing. Now, what if that's a single line? Let's see if I got multiple lines. What does it look like? Okay, so it still actually represents each one. So each line is a child. Huh. So you say it is a child. Well, now I'm more confused. Because I thought the problem was that for some reason it was grouping all of the things. It was grouping all of the things. So what happens if I do this? That is so interesting. Okay, let's try something else here. Here now, app.jsx. I'm just gonna find out what's going on here. I'm gonna put on my detector gadget hat. Apparently I'm not. In case you don't know, this is a debugging console, useful for debugging when it actually works. Okay, so now we can actually kind of see what's happening. It's kind of like freezing the whole universe at one moment in time and then just kind of walking around and being like, oh, so that's how things are. So we can look at these child nodes and talking about this dude, and I'm just gonna shorthand it. Let's call it child. By the way, how much time do we have? 3 minutes. Okay. Child, and I just want to see, so set start is what I'm calling on it. Wait, no, what am I calling it? I'm calling range. Yeah. Huh. I wonder. Only my understanding of JavaScript intricacies was deeper. Let's see. Oh, another cool thing, by the way, I keep looking at this timer, but if you know that you're on a 40-minute cycle or whatever, and you remember kind of vaguely when you started, you can just look at the time and be like, okay, well, I know it's going to end on a round number, so, you know, I know roughly I have 2 minutes. So you don't have to check the timer every time. That being said, I'm a bit lost here. But we are coming up on a break, and I think I'm actually going to take a break both from the live stream and from the coding. So I'll disappear here for 10 minutes and hopefully come back with some better ideas for how to start. But this is kind of the whole point of taking a break. You know, even if I wasn't live streaming, is that, you know, your brain gets so focused on what you're trying to do, and it just kind of like digs into the problem, which is a good thing, that you get so focused on because it helps you make progress on it. But sometimes you need to back off a little bit, and so these kind of little micro breaks kind of like help you to just ask, like, am I getting tunnel vision here? Like, is there a better way? You know, maybe this whole content editable thing, like I said in the beginning, is just kind of a dead end, and it was appealing in the beginning because it was our first cycle, and bam, we already got the multi-line editor, you know. But now we're starting to run into now we're in the mud. That's what I was afraid of. We're in the mud. We're spinning our tires. We're not getting anywhere. I think we might need to put it in reverse and look for a different path forward. And I think my timer is actually a little bit behind because it is now 1:10. So I'm going to stop here, and I will be back in 10 minutes. I will see you all then.